Hey guys, this is Benny Ricciardi with rotocurve.com, and I'm here with our DraftKings running back picks for Week 11. There's a few guys at different price points that we're going to be discussing today. For some reason, it seems like the pricing for the running back position has changed a little bit this week. Everything is kind of consolidated. Some of the guys at the bottom have gotten a little more expensive, and some of the guys at the top have actually gotten a little cheaper. So this is actually a week where I think you can pay up and get some of the more expensive running backs on the list. So let's call up the slideshow and go over the guys who we think are going to be interesting this week. There are four guys that we have on the list for this week. Charkandrick West is going to be the top guy at 4,500. Adrian Peterson at 6,800 is somebody else who we're very interested in. Darren McFadden, again, at 5,000 is just seeing so much volume that he's somebody we want to have on our radar. And Jonathan Stewart at 4,400 seems to be a little bit too cheap for what he can give us. The first guy we're going to talk about is Charkandrick West. 4,500. He's favored and on the road this week. Faces a San Diego defense that has allowed the most fantasy points to running backs so far this year. Ever since taking over for Jamal Charles, he's averaged 24-plus touches as a starter. He scored 22, 24, and 31 fantasy points in his last three starts, and he's even chipping in by averaging over 3 catches per game as well. He has a TD, at least 1 touchdown in every game he's played in so far. And at $4,500, he's going to be very, very popular this week. Yes, he is likely to be one of the chalkiest plays on the week. But again, at the price tag that he's at, with the number of touches he's been getting and with what he's been doing with them, it's really hard not to put him into your lineups. The next guy we're going to talk about is Adrian Peterson. Peterson's a slight favorite at home this week. Goes up against a Green Bay run defense that has been lit up by different running backs in the past couple weeks. Peterson's been averaging 20 touches a game every week so far this season, except for week 1. He has 3 straight 100-yard rushing games in a row, 23-plus fantasy points in 4 of his last 7. And right now, as we said, the top-end running backs are a little bit cheaper this week than they've been for the rest of the season. I think DraftKings had realized that a lot of people had been going and spending cheap at the running back spot because some of the guys at the top weren't able to pay off their salary. In order to kind of make it a little bit more even with the wide receivers, they've actually dropped the price on a lot of these running backs, especially the running backs that don't wind up getting any catches and racking up any PPR yardage. Adrian Peterson at 6,800 is probably as cheap as we've seen him all year, and he's definitely somebody that we should be looking at for our rosters in Week 11. The next guy we're going to talk about is Darren McFadden. As you guys know, I love McFadden at his price of only 5,000, and I also love him because there's basically nobody sharing carries with him in the backfield. He's had 20-plus touches every game so far this season that he started. He's averaging 18 fantasy points per game as a starter since taking over, coming up with at least 4 catches. And this is the first week this season that he's going to be getting a healthy Tony Romo and a healthy Des Bryant, which gives a lot of balance to this offense. The more balanced this offense is, the less the defenses can kind of key on McFadden, who has basically been doing a lot of the touches and a lot of the usage for this Dallas defense lately. In a high-scoring game where it's listed as a pick'em, I definitely think McFadden's going to see a lot of work, whether it's running the ball or catching passes out of the backfield. The last guy we're going to talk about is a cheap flyer who's somebody who's been paying off pretty good for us in the last couple weeks, and that's going to be Jonathan Stewart, the running back for the Carolina Panthers. They're favored this week and at home. He's been getting a bunch of carries every one of this game. 80 yards and a touchdown is really all he's going to need to pay off his salary at $4,400, and he's the cheapest of all the running backs that are in a good spot and also have a guarantee of usage and carries. He's not really a big pass catcher, but he does get all the carries, and with Carolina expected to be winning this game, it sets up as a game where they're going to be going with a run-heavy game plan, keeping the ball on the ground, and that should mean that we see a lot of Jonathan Stewart's, this weekend in this game. So that's going to wrap it up for our running back video this week. Those are 4 guys that are on our radar that we really like. There are a couple other options and a few guys that are up in the air due to injuries. Make sure you check back on that Adrian Peterson situation. He actually sat out practice yesterday. It looks like it was just a day of rest for his hamstring, but if it is anything more serious where he doesn't wind up practicing Thursday or Friday, you definitely have to reconsider using him in your rosters on Sunday. So thank you guys for joining us here at rotocurve.com. And as always, stay classy, DFS.